Good morning, students. In the previous class, we all learned that the fundamental unit of life is the cell. Now, who discovered the cell? Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. And cell, the word cell, is actually a Latin word. Okay, it is a Latin word which means little rooms. Now, how did Robert Hooke discover the cell? What happened was that Robert Hooke was examining a thin slice of cork. What is a cork? Cork is a substance which comes from the bark of the tree. I hope children you all know what is a bark. Okay, so cork is the substance which comes from the bark of a tree. So he had his own microscope and he was looking at a very thin slice of cork under the microscope, and when he looked under the microscope, it looked like a honeycomb. Okay, like this. You all must have seen a honeycomb. So it looked somewhat like this, a honeycomb. So since it was looking like a honeycomb, or you can say it was looking like small boxes or little room, Robert Hooke called these boxes cell. Okay, and it is a Latin word which means little room. So this is how the cell was discovered. It was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Then we come to the cell theory. Now there were two biologists, that is Sheldon and Swan, okay, who gave the cell theory. And what is this cell theory? The first cell theory is that all plants and animals are composed of cells. This you all know, every living organisms, you all have studied children that every living organism, whether it is the plants or the animals, what are they composed of? They are composed of the cells. And the second cell theory is that cells are the basic unit of life. In the previous video, I explained how cells are the basic unit of life. You all know that it is from the cells that a particular organism is made. Okay, so from the cells, many cells together make the tissues, then tissues makes organs make organ system, and organ system makes an organism. So what is the basic unit of life? That is the cells. Okay, so these 2 points were given by Sheldon and Swan, who were two biologists. But in the year 1855, there was another scientist whose name was Virchow. Okay, that is in the year 1855. So Virchow expanded the cell theory. The cell theory which was given by Sheldon and Swan, they had given only 2 points, but Virchow expanded the cell theory by adding another point. And what is that point? He said that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. And this also you have studied in class 8 children. You all know that the new cells, they arise from the pre-existing cell. That means if there is one single cell, you all have studied that this single cell keeps on dividing continuously. Okay, 1 into 2, then 2 into 4. So what happens? These cells continuously divide and then they form the new cells. So that means cells always arise from pre-existing cells. The cells which are already existing, from them arises the cells. So this is the cell theory. Okay, the cell theory consists of 3 points, that is all plants and animals are composed of cells. Cells are the basic unit of life, and all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. This is the cell theory. Then there were few more scientists like Leeuwenhoek. Okay, Leeuwenhoek in 1674. He had a very primitive microscope. Okay, and with that, Robert Hooke, who discovered the cell, he had a very primitive type of microscope, and he looked and he saw the cork cells. But later on, it was Leeuwenhoek in 1674 who saw with an improved microscope, he saw the proper structure of the cells, living cells in pond water for the first time. Then it was Robert Brown in 1831 who discovered the nucleus inside the cell. You have studied in class 8th, children, about the nucleus, that the cells contain the nucleus. About all these organelles we will study in detail in the next coming videos. Okay, but for the time being you will have to learn the name of all these scientists. Okay, so Robert Brown in 1831 discovered the nucleus of the cell. And then Purkinje, he is another scientist who coined the term protoplasm for the fluid substance of the cell. Okay, protoplasm is the fluid part of the cell. You must have heard about cytoplasm. Isn't it, children? Cytoplasm in class 8 you have studied about the cytoplasm, but now here you are hearing for the first time protoplasm. So what is the difference between protoplasm and a cytoplasm? See, you all have studied about the cell. This is the cell, for example. Okay, and in the cell you have studied that it contains a nucleus. So this is the nucleus of the cell. Okay, and last year you have studied that the nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance, isn't it? And that is called as the cytoplasm. Clear, children? So what is the difference between a cytoplasm and a protoplasm? Cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance, or you can say a fluid-like structure, which is present inside the cell membrane and which is found between the cell membrane and the nucleus. Okay, that means it is found here inside the cell membrane and the nucleus. But the protoplasm is again a fluidy matter which includes everything along with the cell membrane. It includes the cytoplasm, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm along with the nucleus. So that is the difference between a protoplasm and a cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm is a fluid-like structure which is found between cell membrane and the nucleus. It is found only in this region. Whereas protoplasm includes everything. It includes the cell membrane. This is the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Okay, the cell membrane. It includes the cell membrane, the cytoplasm as well as the nucleus. So all the parts of a cell, okay, every part of the cell including the cytoplasm and the nucleus comes in the protoplasm. So that is the difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm. Okay, clear, children? Now the rest we will do in the next class. Thank you.